Folks, let's talk about a moment in history that stirred the hearts of millions of Americans: the presidency of Donald J. Trump. His leadership, his vision, and yes, his words have left a mark on this great nation. Today, we're diving into one of his most impactful speeches, where he laid out a roadmap to make America great again. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny his ability to ignite a fire in the hearts of his supporters. So, buckle up, this is going to be a ride. Donald Trump's speeches weren't just words, they were a declaration of intent. Take his inaugural address in 2017, for example. He said, and I quote, "The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer." These words struck a chord because, for years, hard-working Americans felt left behind. Globalization, unchecked immigration, and endless wars had taken their toll. Trump promised to change that, and, boy, did he try. One of the key themes of Trump's presidency was putting America first. He wasn't afraid to call out unfair trade deals, even if it upset global elites. His policies brought jobs back to America, revitalized industries, and gave hope to communities that had been struggling for decades. He renegotiated an AFTA, giving us the USMCA fairer terms for American workers and businesses. Critics said it wouldn't work, but guess what? The numbers spoke for themselves. Let's not forget his stance on immigration. Trump made it clear, securing the border wasn't just about politics, it was about protecting the American way of life. In one speech, he said, "A nation without borders is not a nation." It wasn't about hate or division. It was about ensuring safety, stability, and sovereignty. He started building the wall, cut illegal crossings, and sent a clear message: America's laws will be respected. And then there was his approach to foreign policy. Trump famously declared, "We are going to stop the endless wars." He brought troops home, stood strong against adversaries like Iran and China, and showed the world that America doesn't need to bow to anyone. Remember the Abraham Accords, historic peace agreements that brought stability to the Middle East. He made peace where others had only promised. But it wasn't just policies, it was the spirit he inspired. Trump's speeches weren't polished by Washington insiders. They were raw, authentic, and unapologetic. When he said, "I will fight for you with every breath in my body," people believed him because he meant it. He spoke directly to Americans who felt left out of the system. He didn't play by the rules of the political elites, and that's exactly why they feared him. But it wasn't just policies, it was the spirit he inspired. Trump's speeches weren't polished by Washington insiders. They were raw, authentic, and unapologetic. When he said, "I will fight for you with every breath in my body," people believed him because he meant it. He spoke directly to Americans who felt left out of the system. He didn't play by the rules of the political elites, and that's exactly why they feared him. So, whether you agreed with him or not, Donald Trump's speeches and his presidency challenged us to think about what kind of country we want to be. He didn't just talk about problems, he brought solutions, often in the face of overwhelming opposition. That's the mark of a leader who truly cares. Folks, the legacy of Trump's presidency and his speeches will be debated for generations. But one thing is for sure, his words still echo across this land, stirring hope, anger, and passion in equal measure. That's the power of leadership. That's the power of Trump. Until next time, remember, it's not about left or right. It's about putting America first. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. And you know, folks, there's something to be said about a leader who doesn't back down, someone who isn't afraid to speak their mind, even if it ruffles a few feathers. That's what Trump brought to the table. He reminded us that leadership isn't about appeasing everyone. It's about making tough decisions for the greater good. Think about his rally speeches. Remember how he spoke directly to the American worker. He talked about the factories that were shuttered, the towns that were hollowed out, and the families that struggled to make ends meet. He didn't sugarcoat it. He acknowledged the pain and promised action. And you know what? For the first time in years, people felt like someone in Washington was actually listening. He called it the Forgotten America, and let's face it, he was right. For decades, career politicians ignored those people. They were too busy playing their globalist games and cutting deals that sold out American jobs. But Trump stood up and said, no more. He brought their struggles into the spotlight and made sure the world couldn't ignore them any longer. Let's not forget the economy, folks. During Trump's presidency, unemployment hit record lows. The stock market reached heights nobody thought possible. Businesses were booming, and for once, we had a president who actually understood how to run things like a businessman, not just another bureaucrat. And how about those tax cuts? Oh, the media wanted you to believe it was only for the rich, but we all know the truth. Millions of hard-working Americans got to keep more of their paychecks. More money in the pockets of the people who earned it. That's what the American dream is all about. But, of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Trump faced resistance like no other president before him. The media, they were relentless. They didn't just report the news, they waged a war against him. Every word he said was twisted, every move scrutinized, and yet he kept going. Why? Because he wasn't fighting for their approval, he was fighting for you. That's the kind of resilience we need in leadership today. Someone who doesn't cave to pressure, someone who doesn't flinch in the face of criticism. Trump showed us what it means to stand firm in your convictions, even when the entire world seems to be against you. Now, here's the big question. What can we learn from all of this? Whether you supported him or not, the lessons from Trump's presidency are clear. Stand up for what you believe in. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. And most importantly, never let the voices of the elite drown out the will of the people. We, as Americans, have the power to shape our future. And as Trump himself said, the best is yet to come. It's up to us to make sure that's true. So, I want you to think about this. What kind of America do you want to leave for the next generation? One that bows to globalists and bureaucrats? Or one that stands proud and free, putting its people first? The choice is ours, my friends. And like Trump reminded us, it starts with you, the American citizen. This is your country. This is your future. Let's make it count. Thank you for spending your time with me today as we revisited one of the most transformative presidencies in our history. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video. Together, let's keep the conversation alive. Let's keep the spirit of America burning bright. Until next time, stay strong, stay proud, and stay true to the values that make this country the greatest in the world. God bless you, and God bless America.